Hey, what's going on, guys? Chad here with Greenlight Shooting. So if you didn't know, Springfield just launched their brand new gun today. It's called the Springfield XDE. Over the past couple weeks, I've been getting a bunch of emails talking about this kind of teasing this new gun. Yeah, it didn't really say what it was about. It showed like a silhouette image that looked really cool. It had like a hammer, and that's really all you could tell. Well, today they officially announced it. Like I said, it's the Springfield XDE. So obviously it's built on the same XD platform we're used to, but the E now stands for external hammer. I think that's what it stands for. It's something like that. In any regards, it's essentially an XDS with a hammer. There are a couple differences that we'll talk about, but that's kind of what it is. They've been teasing this whole new, just game-changing gun, and it's an XDS with a hammer. Now, I don't mean to downplay the XDE. It's just, I don't know, I guess I was a little underwhelmed, kind of, they built up a lot of expectations, let's put it that way. But we'll save that for the end. Let's talk a little bit more about what this gun is. Now, before we get into talking about the gun itself, there is kind of a lot of controversy and political stuff surrounding Springfield right now. If you're unfamiliar with it, or if you want to know more about it, just Google it. There are a lot of articles out there. I'm not going to touch on it. I try to keep politics away from this channel. So yeah, if you're interested, go check that out. Come back when you're done. The XDE. It is a this is an XDS, by the way, but it's very, very similar form factor wise. That's why I'm holding this up. So it's a 3.3 inch barrel, which is the same size as this XDS. It's still polymer framed, all that stuff. A couple differences, it doesn't have the grip safety that I can tell. I'm just going off of like videos and stuff I've seen online, by the way. But from what I can tell, there is no grip safety, there is no trigger safety. It's just your normal trigger now. There's a different grip zone on the grip. I think it's the same one as the Mod 2s, but I'm not all the way sure. It looks relatively similar. One of the big things they're talking about is how easy the slide is to manipulate. They said it was 27% easier to rack the slide. So, maybe if you have weak hands or you're new to shooting or something, that's really cool. But obviously the big news has to do with the external hammer on the gun. So rather than being all encompassed internally like a striker fired gun, it now has an external hammer on the back which moves back and forth. Which is interesting because it'll allow for either a double or a single action trigger pull now. And the external safety will act as a decocker as well. So that's the features of the gun. I'm still sort of stuck in that underwhelmed zone. Like, who asks for an XDS with a hammer? Like, is that something there was a lot of demand for? I can't see it. I mean, I don't know. I understand there's a lot of people who have some hate for striker fired pistols, but I also feel like those people also hate on polymer guns, and the XDE is still polymer. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like external hammers. I think they certainly serve a purpose and have a place. 1911s are iconic, revolvers for obvious reasons. I like going to the range and having a single action trigger pull if I'm just like really focused on marksmanship and bullseye shooting and stuff like that. But I mean, as far as concealed carry, I can see the advantage of like having a decocker and carrying with double action. I get that, I get it all. But it's like, this thing was already pretty freaking safe for concealed carry. That grip safety, that trigger safety, like, it wasn't accidentally gonna go off. And this trigger is still like, I don't know, 6 pounds? It's relatively heavy. I didn't see it as an issue, really. Like I said, I understand there are people who will not shoot striker fired guns. They only want double single action external hammers. I don't get why you'd want a 3-inch barrel, polymer framed, double single action gun. You're not gonna be shooting bullseyes at distance with this thing. It's got a 3-inch barrel and it's polymer. I don't care how crisp the trigger pull is. You're gonna get off target. And I'm not saying it's a bad idea or a bad gun. I think if the XDS didn't exist and all there was that XDE, I think it'd be totally fine. Like, I don't have any beef against it. It's just like, when the XDS already exists, why did you make... The XDE has a capacity of 8+1 or 9+1, depending on which magazine you use. I think XDS mags will work as well. I'm not super sure. It's only available in 9mm as far as I know right now. I know that wasn't a ton of information. I know that wasn't at all scientific, but I wanted to fill you guys in that the XDE was released. The little bit of changes, the XDE is out there, has an external hammer. If you like it, tell me why down in the comments below.